Hi BookTube, it's Missy, and today I'm here to share with you guys my top 15 of 2015. I also have a couple runners-up and my top 5 loathed books of the year. This is like the 6th attempt at filming this, and so yes, let's just get started. I will do it a lot quicker this time. Last video was 30 minutes long, or almost 40, excuse me. Okay, the book that comes in at number 15 is You by Caroline Kepnes. This is an adult, like, psychological thriller, maybe. I think it is. It is written in second person, so the narrator is talking to the reader, or technically to the person he is stalking, but it feels like he's talking to you. Very unnerving. Absolutely loved it. Joe is by far the creepiest guy I have ever read about, and I can't wait for Hidden Bodies, which comes out in 2016. Number 14 is Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. This is a witch book, a YA witch book. I heard a lot of people talk about how they hated this series, which makes me sad because I absolutely loved this story. The movie is crap, but this book is very good. Coming in at number 13 is Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead. I absolutely love this series. This is the 3rd book in the Vampire Academy, and I just was so great. All the feels. Rose, and you know who. Lots of just emotional roller coaster, and then that ending, people, I tell you what, cliffhanger galore. I died. All right, at number 12 we have Red Necklace by Sally Gardner. This one is an audio book that I listened to on YouTube because I couldn't find it at my local library, and so I will leave that link down below. Tom Hiddleston narrates it. It was magical. It's a YA historical fiction about the French Revolution. Did I say Tom Hiddleston narrates it? It was really nice. All the different character voices, it was just so good. So good. You must listen to it. Number 11 is The Fall by Bethany Griffin. This is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher, which is a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. When I first read this book, I gave it 4 stars because there is a lot of jumping back and forth from present to past, and that was a little annoying, but after having months, you know, of space between when I read it and now, I bumped this up to 5 stars. It was really incredible, and if you have read The Fall of the House of Usher, you know it's only 30 pages. The sister is practically non-existent in that story. She's mentioned in like 1 sentence, and to have Bethany Griffin take that 1 sentence and turn it into a 420-page book is amazing. I loved it. The doctors are creepy, the house is creepy, every situation is creepy. It's creepy that they have Twin Link, and it kind of reminded me of the movie Crimson Peak. If you liked that movie, you will definitely love this book. All right, and then at number 10, we have Mosquitoland by David Arnold. This is a YA road trip, coming of age, contemporary. This is his debut novel, I believe, and I absolutely loved it. It's written through Mim's eyes, who's the main character. She's about 16. She leaves Mississippi and travels to Ohio on her own on a Greyhound bus because she's being a brat. And lots of teenagers think that they're smarter than their parents, so she just is like, well, I don't want to stay here anymore. I hate my dad. I hate my stepmom. I'm going back to my real mom. And nonsense ensues, and there are also letters that Mim reads or writes to a person, and you don't get to find out till the end who that person is, but I absolutely loved those letters. And if you haven't picked this up, definitely pick it up. It's really good, and the cover is beautiful. Number 9 is Challenger Deep by Neal Shusterman. This is an author that I know about because I've read a few of his series before. This is a YA mental illness book. It is it's about a boy who is dealing with schizophrenia, and he's starting to lose reality, and he has to go to a mental hospital. I loved this story. The family is so beautiful because they're always with him at the hospital. It's not like one of those stories where you hear that the family just drops their kid off and washes their hands. You know, they don't want to have anything to do with this kid anymore because he's too much to handle. The parents are very supportive, and they're always there, you know, cheering him on his recovery. And yeah, I just loved it. I loved the mental illness aspect, and then I also loved like the fantasy based aspect because they go together, and it was really touching to see the struggle and then the, you know, the recovery about this boy. Number 8 is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This is a YA horror classic. I was absolutely in love with this book. It is a book anybody could read because, one, it's not scary. There's no monsters or anything like that. And two, it's just phenomenal. It's kind of reminiscent of like the Addams Family. Not really, but kind of. These girls are they are part of the community, but they're shunned because people think that they're really weird. The house that they live in has been in the family for generations, and the whole family like dies, and so everyone thinks that the older sister killed her, like her whole family, because she's crazy, but she's acquitted, and they still suspect something is foul going on in the house, and it has a creepy turn towards the middle, and then the ending was brilliant. I just loved it, and it's super short. And if you want to hear a better review, I will leave Penelope's review down below because she had better words to share. I have no words, but it was good. Pick it up. Coming in at number 7 is A Madness So Discreet by Mindy McGinnis. This is a YA historical fiction mystery. It's set in an insane asylum or a mental hospital, and it's about a girl who is placed there while she's pregnant because she can't be seen by her father's colleagues or it'll be bad for his reputation. And so while she's there, she has to figure out a way to escape, and she meets an eccentric doctor and he helps her, and then they end up solving murder mysteries together, or crimes. Murder mysteries? No, crimes. Solving murders. That's it. They get together to solve murders, and I really enjoyed it, and it's very dark, and yes, now I want to read anything that Mindy has written, and I think I will in 2016. At number 6, I have Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I listened to this on audio, and then I had to buy the physical copy because it was amazing. This is the first audio book that I've listened to that has been narrated by Neil Gaiman. The other Neil Gaiman books that I've read, I physically read them, and I think Neil Gaiman narrates all of his books, so it was so cool, and his voice is so magical and enchanting and just perfect for fantasy, and that's what this is. It's an adult fantasy about a boy searching for a falling star, and then there's magical creatures and witches, and it was just so good. And don't compare it to the movie because the movie is good, but it's not exactly the same as the book like most movies are. Definitely check the book out first. Alright, now we're in the top 5 of my favorite books of 2015. So at number 5, we have Jacoby by William Ritter. I absolutely loved this story, so much so that I had to pre-order the sequel and then, you know, stalk William Ritter on Twitter until he told me that the third one is coming out in August of 2016. I absolutely loved this. This is a YA paranormal detective story, like a mystery, but they're solving crimes, and it's paranormal crimes, and the detective is totally crazy eccentric, and I Abigail Rook is his assistant, and she's so cute, and I love their friendship and their work relationship, and he's such like a big brother to her, and just everything. I know that the blurb on the back says it's a Doctor Who meets Sherlock Holmes, and since I haven't seen or read either of those mystery kinds of things, I can't compare them, but I do know that it's really funny and quirky and totally readable, very fast, and I'm sure you all will love it, so pick it up. Read it, read it. All right, coming in at number 4 is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. This is my first Diana Wynne Jones. This is a middle grade, I think it's middle grade. The kids are a little bit older. I guess it could be middle grade YA, but this is a fantasy, and if you've seen the movie, then you will definitely love the book. And the book's just slightly different, but I love the fact that with all books, they have more information, and so you learn about Howl and why the Witch of the Waste is like following him and trying to get his heart, and then you find out all about Sophie, and it was great. I loved it. I read through it really, really fast. This is how I met Casey over at A Basket Casey Reads. I got it right this time, and I do have the sequel, and I can't wait to pick it up. Coming in at number 3 is Ensnared by A.G. Howard. She's my favorite. She's my favorite author, YA author. I absolutely loved this series. If you like Alice in Wonderland and you haven't picked up this series yet, what are you doing? This was amazing, and this is the final book in the Splintered trilogy. I loved it. I loved it because of Morpheus. I loved it because of Morpheus. I loved it because of the creatures and Queen Red and Jeb. His name's Jeb. And again, Morpheus. Pick up this book. Not this in particular one. Pick up Splintered first, because you can't pick up the third one. That would be silly. But the whole series, just amazing. And after I'm done with this video, I'm going to pick up Untamed, which is 3.5. It's going to be so good. Coming at number 2 is The Shining by Stephen King. I can't believe I haven't read this yet. This is my favorite horror novel for the entire year because it actually scared me. I listened to it on the way to work, and I was so scared to even turn it on because I kind of knew it was going to happen, but I didn't want it to happen, and it was just freaking me out, and there was a little bit of screaming in my car and nail biting, and I listened to it on audio, which made it even more scary because the author was phenomenal, and he was like screaming at me through my speakers, and I thought he was going to come and kill me, and I was really scared. Pick up The Shining for Halloween this coming year, because it was really good. It was so good. And my final book, which is my top of the year, which you already know what it is, but I'm going to share it anyway, and that is The Martian by Andy Weir. This was amazing. It's an adult sci-fi survival book about Mark Watney on Mars and everything that he has to do in order to survive, and it was brilliant. And I got my husband to listen to it, and he hates books, so that's something. And if you want to hear a really, really good review of this book, I will leave Trina's link down below because she describes it so much better than I can. This is amazing. Pick it up. I don't care if you don't like sci-fi. Do it anyway, and then watch the movie, because if you watch the movie before, you won't know what you're missing from the book, because the book was better. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so that was my top 15 of 2015. When it comes to my runners-up or my, what is it called? What am I trying to say? Honorable mentions. There is the Morning Glories graphic novel series. I have read 1 through 7 this year. It's by Spencer Esma and Esquijo. I don't even know what this what this series is about. I couldn't tell you what genre it's under. It's like time traveling. It's a contemporary. It's about a boarding school. The kids kind of have like these powers. I don't know what it is, and I don't even know what's going on. And the series only has 9 volumes. And I'm confused, but I love it. And the drawings are awesome. Look at that. That screaming man. Oh, so good. So, so good. My next runner-up is the girl with the steel corset. Is that how it? The girl with, yeah, with the steel corset. Katie Cross. I think that's the author's name. Of course, I will leave a picture. This was wonderful. I read the prequel, which is like 0.5, before I even picked the girl with the steel corset up. And that one was a 5-star novella, which I never give out. It was so, so good. Book 1, it's about a girl who is, the daughter of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so it's a retelling of her story. And it's so good. And she meets up with these other misfits, and they're trying to stop an evil villain. And it's got steampunk, and it's Victorian historical fiction, and it's wonderful. And I'm going to pick up the second one in 2016. And I loved it. And my other 2 are The Cage by Megan Shepherd. This is an alien book where kids are abducted and put into simulated biospheres. And so the aliens can watch and see how they interact with each other. And, it's like a testing, or they're like pets or something. Really freaky. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait for number 2. The Hunt comes out, I believe, in June or July of 2016, so I don't have a long wait. And then my last honorable mention is Magonia. I can't say the author's name, but I will leave a picture, obviously. I know tons of people hated this book, but I absolutely loved it. There's bird people, okay? There's sky pirates. There's singing sky whales. There is a city in the clouds. You sing with birds in your chest. I know it's super fantastical, and people hate that because it's so weird, but it's so cool at the same time. You have to broaden your imaginary fantastical mind and just take it all in. This is a debut novel, and I'm sure we'll get more world building in book 2. But for now, I thought it was great, and the cover is gorgeous. All right, down to the last 5 books on my list, and these are my loathed books, the ones I despised with a passion, the ones I hated and would never recommend. The first one is The Sham by Ellen Allen, and this is a 1-star book for me. If I could have given it 0 stars, I would have. This is a book that I was given to by the author for an honest review, and she wrote about a group of girls who beat up an autistic kid and then stole another child from his mother at the mall and then tortured him. So that was all in the first chapter. I wanted to drop it immediately because I don't condone that kind of stuff. And then after that, there's got like some weird magical realism that doesn't make any sense, that doesn't belong in the story. And then the girls are just, they're going on this like me kick and trying to get attention. So they're attention-seeking girls, and I don't want to give away the ending if you really, really want to read this book, but it just didn't make any sense, and I hated it. And I read it from start to finish because I have to if I'm going to review a book, and it was just awful. I wish it wasn't written. It was that bad. That was like my number 1, my top 1 that I despised the most. Number 2 is The Edge of the Water, which is the sequel to The Edge of Nowhere by Elizabeth George. This one I was looking forward to reading because I did enjoy the first book, but it took a weird twist or turn in the story, and it became like this fantastical kind of thing, and it didn't make any sense. It had no real reason to be in the story, and it was just weird. Like, you can't go with a contemporary mystery thriller of a book and then in the sequel stop doing what you did in the first book and then say, hey, there's unicorns in this book, because it makes no sense. There wasn't any unicorns in the first book. Why are there unicorns in the second book? Don't confuse your audience. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars, and it took me 6 months to read because it was that bad. Bleh. Number 3 is Don't You Forget About Me by Kate Carius Quinn. I did read her debut novel and didn't like it because it wasn't what I was expecting, and then it wasn't written very well, and the demon at the end just didn't make any sense. I hated it. And then this book, I thought I would give her a second chance because maybe that one was just really hard to write. And this one was just as bad. It's got like magical realism and like these demon things, and the main character is on drugs the whole time because she doesn't want to, you know, deal with reality. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. Number 4 is Asylum by Patrick McGrath, and this is an adult mystery. Is it mystery? Adult thriller? I don't know. It's about a woman and her husband who work at an asylum. Her husband is like the psychologist, and she has an affair with a patient there, and then lots and lots of bad things happen after that, and it was just, it was just so bad. The woman is like a psychopath. She has no empathy. She didn't care what she did, and she kept doing it, and it was just, I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. My last book on this list is Sematary Boys by Heather Brewer. This book was supposed to be super scary about like a monster in a small town, and then you never find out if the monster is real or not. I mean, if you're going to say that there's a monster and you're going to tell me the answer in the prologue, what is the point of me reading the entire story? I mean, it's like Heather Brewer gave me the ending in the prologue. She told me exactly what happened. The very last scene of the book is in the prologue. Okay? And then you read up to the ending again. And the main character is a spoiled brat. He is ungrateful and whiny and joins a group of terrible boys just so he can get attention and lets them bully him, and he keeps coming back for more. He never stands up for himself or anybody else in the town or his family, and then he becomes like this like alcoholic throughout the story for no reason other than so he can keep these bad friends, you know, in his life because he doesn't want to be kicked out of their group. It was just awful, 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 awful. And that was my top 15 of 2015, my honorable mentions, and my top 5 loathed books of the year. What were your favorites of 2015? Did you have any that you really, really disliked that you would never recommend to people? Let me know down below all of your answers to those questions. I'm losing it. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Yes, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.